So what year was it when you graduated buds?
So it was spring of '98.
And then you went to Team 3.
Yeah, I went to boot camp or Benning jump school.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Back when they still did that, and then from there straight to Team 3, and an STT, and I got did the Chiefs board thing, which was I wish they still did that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a sacrilege that they do it the way they do it now. But yeah, I got my Trident in October of '98. Waited until January to jump into my first platoon, and that was an ARG Alpha platoon. So that was a 22-month workup with 6 months of Fleet X ship deployments prior to even deploying.
I did 2 ARGs.
Yeah,
man. Back-to-back ARGs at Team 1 back in the day.
I think they're valuable.
What ship did you deploy on?
The Duluth.
Oh, right on.
LPD 6.
Yep.
Oh,
man, so that thing's from 1965 or 67 or something like that.
Yeah, it was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they built these ships, Echo, to take troops from here to Vietnam and drop them off. But then by the time we were on them, they were just doing full 6-month deployments. So it was straight up World War II style canvas racks. So little canvas racks. There'd be 4 people sleeping stacked up like 4 bunks with these little canvas racks. It was old school.
Yeah. But I will say this. I mean, the experiences in terms of big Navy, like you don't get those in the teams, you know. And,
for sure.
And doing the Fleet X's, we were on the Abraham Lincoln and got to stand on the bridge watching F-14s land and take off, and you know, we got to do some pretty neat stuff that I'm glad we got to be a part of.
What was awesome for me was we were doing, because when you're with them, you're with the Marine Corps. And so we did all these operations in conjunction with the Marine Corps. So I was a comms guy. What were you?
Intel guy.
So I was a comms guy. So I was always interacting with all the other units that would be out there for communications and then coordinating and all that stuff. So I had a real leg up when it came to working with conventional forces, which if you were in a regular spec ops platoon back then, you wouldn't ever work with. I mean, you'd very rarely work with conventional forces. So I did 2 ARGs where I got to work with Marines and do massive, you know, battalion-sized operations and had to coordinate all those things. So it gave me a good introduction. You'd get guys back in the teams back then. They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even understand what a Marine Corps battalion was, or what a company was, or what a platoon was. They just wouldn't know. Now everybody knows. We've gotten more professional as time has gone by. But that gave me I was real lucky that I had that ARG platoon experience. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, just getting you know, kind of the big Navy perspective on a lot of things, I think is valuable. You know, and it was just neat for me at least, from a tradition standpoint. I mean, because we did about a 3-week exercise in Australia where we tested out a fast catamaran that they were testing for us. Basically, the thought was, is this thing to do like 55 knots, you know? And it's the size of it's bigger than like a guided missile cruiser. I mean, it's a medium-sized ship with, you know, a hole in the middle as a cat. But so the thought process was we could deploy like a whole task element, or at least a platoon. I don't know if you remember I think they were with the Hurricane class or whatever, those little NSW amphibious boats that was kind of the same principle, and they canned it after a while. But same kind of principle is that, but these things do 55 knots, and it was weird. You know, we're out floating around testing these things out, doing some exercises with some Norforce Australian guys, and it was more like being on a plane than a boat in terms of the way it felt, like when you're trying to sleep or whatever. I mean, imagine a boat that big doing 55 knots.
That's crazy. That's completely crazy.
Yeah, but you could put everything, you know, you could do a full task element loadout on it, be completely self-sustained, and go 55 knots anywhere in the world, you know. So it certainly had some potential, but obviously we never ended up doing them, or getting them or implementing them.